guess you can't do that test casually. It doesn't take too long. But it can take a while. Fair. I think that's like a general one. Supervised today? No. No, I will not. But I may continue posting pictures of wildlife. With starships. Also probably not. That's a good beach. Actually, I might have some beach pictures for you. They may or may not be liminal. Tired? No. It would be pictures of beaches, not of me. Terrain smoothies? Absolutely not. None were taken, and none will ever be. No more to When you read that, the Pokemon theme gets started. It also did for me. Here you go. Liminal beach adjacent. Do I know how to vogue? Yes. I don't even have to think about that one. Probably the easiest thing to do. Proof. No, you don't. Okay, there's the liminal beach adjacent. Like there's beach in the background. Castlevania Thomas collection? I was unaware of, and now I will be looking into. having to preempt the discussion. What still, David doesn't have to apologize for having shorter off, so none of us are expecting 5 hours of his time. Fair. But what if he suddenly decides to have a 5-hour one? Check out Nouveau Beach. Sir, I believe that's a hallway. Beachway.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Link to the event. There we go. Ah, this guy is weird ass linking. Well, hopefully that doesn't entirely break people joining, but hopefully people will still come in. All right. Let me know when it's starting to level off. I feel like we'll have less people today because the announcement link broke, and it probably destroyed everybody's thing. But it's okay. Oh.
Yeah, it looks like we're about to hold up. And you've got some feedback going, it sounds like.
What kind of feedback?
I could hear myself talk a bit, but it seems like it's gone now.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for coming to the weekly Midjourney office hours. We do these every week at Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Basically, what we do is we talk about what we're working on and what we're thinking about, and then we take questions. So let's get started. Basically, let's see. The biggest thing coming next is going to be the new personalization system, which should have multiple personalization profiles and a new way of making personalized models. I'm hoping that should be really good. We also have a general upgrade of personalization coming that I'm hoping that just has more diversity in the style. So if you kind of do photos half the time and drawings half the time, it might try to understand the variations and dependencies of those sort of things, and so it should give you more diverse styles rather than kind of converging on a single thing that you like, but more on multiple things that you like equally that are different. Let's see. Yeah, hopefully that'll come relatively quickly. What else? I think we're starting to push people a little bit more towards some of the bigger model releases. I think we're a little bit debating on a 6.2 right now versus a V7. We have some candidate 6.2 stuff that is a little better with prompt understanding. It's a little smarter, better with multiple languages, has a little bit better image quality. and is a little bit faster. It's kind of like a minor update. I think we're kind of debating whether like it makes sense to take the effort to pull it over the line versus just try to move V7 up another week. We're kind of on the fence there. I can't really say for sure what we're gonna do. I think yeah, some of our data sources that we wanted to use to tune the 6.2 are not like looking as good as we were hoping. So I was hoping for like a much better image quality improvement, but I think it might have to wait for V7. The V6 stuff is kind of complicated and fragile, so it's really easy to dump a lot of time into it. It's like probably the most complicated image system in the world, just because, you know, sometimes you got to make it more complicated to make it good, and we're willing to do the shit work to make it good. I mean, shit work, obviously it's great work to make it good, but also what I'm kind of referring to is that, like, sometimes, you're happy someone's paying you to do something. Yeah. And yeah, we'll make sure that so there's a lot of it means that you have this complicated high performance system that is not always easy to update. And then sometimes you build a new system to try to make it cleaner. Um, and V7 should be a lot cleaner. It's hard to say when V7 will come out. It's definitely looking like it's going to have all the bells and whistles that people have been asking for a long time. I think that's probably the reason why it's so late, is because it's sort of trying to do all the things at once. So would have been easier if we picked things off a little bit smaller, I think. But we didn't do a good job at that this year. We kind of just wanted to make like, I mean, it makes sense that like, in an ideal world, you kind of just like you make like well, I mean, it's a little easier to think about making a totally new system each time than to kind of constantly upgrade different parts of the system individually. I think we probably didn't have a big enough team to do that, so it was kind of easier just to work on everything at once. Like build a new car rather than just switch out the tires. We can, so the 6.2 might be like switching out the tires, but not actually having the new car. So there's like a limit to what we can do. So hard to say. I think that's kind of an area of debate right now. Mhm. But the personalization looks like it's going to be really good. We have some depth control net we've been playing with. There were sort of some pros and cons. Then we're training a better version that is definitely going to be a lot nicer. I think we're debating a little bit on ControlNet in general right now because it feels a little bit more like a photo filter sometimes, in a way that's like both good and bad. So I'm like debating whether it should almost be on like a separate tab on the website, or it should be like spoken differently, like instead of depth reference, something else. Like trying to figure out like it feels different, and I'm trying to figure out like what the right way to make it feel good is, because it doesn't always feel. It feels kind of like my Midjourney creations feel like more precious than my depth control net things, and I don't totally know how to. I almost want them to be in like different bins. Um, yeah, but then what does that look like? Rather than just sort of like throwing it all together. I think we're kind of trying to figure that out. We did release this personality test thing, and I hope everybody gets to try it. It's pretty fun. It's in the announcements page. It's pretty cool. Like it'll like takes about 15 minutes, and then it measures you on 200 axes and gives you like the percentiles of like how you are in comparison to other people. So I think it's kind of like fun to do in general by itself, but we're trying to do a bunch of research and build some new product stuff around the findings from it. So anybody who takes it is helping us out with science. So both like, play with it, have fun, and get ready for science. Um, yeah, let's see what else. I think we might try some new like question ranking submission stuff in a live demo next time to be kind of like the lightning rounds, but maybe more fun. That'll be cool. What else? I feel like I'm missing, like always I'm missing a lot of things, but they're mostly just things I'm not supposed to talk about. Um, mm, 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 mm. The 3D data collection is getting closer. So once the 3D data is finished collecting, then we'll have, we should have like a 3D mode relatively fast. Some of the video stuff is starting to come along a little bit faster than I expected. I mean, I think this makes some sense that like there's a lot of companies building video models right now that don't really have like huge research teams. So it looked like there are maybe some small things that are unpublished that make the video stuff get better like pretty easily that um so some of our video guys are just starting to be like, oh, actually maybe this isn't very hard. And it'll become faster than we thought. So kind of a question of like how much of it is video like some grand unsolved problem versus how much is it like some small things. It's starting to look like at least the first version of the video that might be good enough to release might be more related to like some small things. And so then we're starting to debate like, do we release a V6 video model or wait till V7? V7 video model will be a lot better. But it's possible that if we just train the V6 video model for like a little bit longer, we might be happy with it. And then if we release something sooner, it might let us gather data, which would inform the more like real video model that would come at a later date. So there's some debate now happening around whether we do that. So yeah. And so I think it's very hard to kind of decide between, you know, releasing things sooner versus sort of like making the bigger things take 1 week less time. I can't quite figure it out. Maybe we'll do some polls later. But yeah, thinking about it. I think we don't, I mean, I don't really know if it's quite at a point where it's a poll thing yet. I think it's sort of, we kind of have to keep some compute for those people to like do their studies and the researchers. And so it's tough. Like it's not obvious that throwing more compute at V7 or video will immediately fix it. Yeah. I think it's hard to. I think I'm just probably just being transparent, just saying like what we're thinking about. I don't think I can necessarily say exactly that we know enough yet to put it to a poll or to make a decision. But I think the important thing is that it implies that a Midjourney video system will probably come sooner than I thought. I was saying that I thought 3D would come before video. Now I'm starting to think video will come before 3D. It's kind of a race, you know? And the 3D model gets to the front. And no, the video model's catching up. The video model's in the lead. It's like some kind of, race. Nothing is taking longer so much as things are getting faster, which is cool. Um, yeah, I'm very excited to eventually put them together, doing like the 3D and the video stuff. We've been testing out some big grid things too, but I'm a little worried that big grids need some more UI changes. Like, I go back and forth. Sometimes I like the big grids and sometimes I don't on the website. I'm getting used to bigger grids and I'm liking it, but yeah, I mean, sometimes it's kind of sucks on the website because it's like the images are too big and then you have to scroll around too much and we don't quite have enough people right now to ship the personalization improvements and get the big batch stuff ready, which is unfortunate. So I'm not sure what we're gonna do there. I think we may just have to take longer for the big batches. I think the personalization stuff is more important than the big batches right now. Sometimes just because the big batches are not like, it's weird. We were thinking of releasing like, sorry, I'm yawning, a batch 8 versus like a batch 64, and then I was comparing it, and like batch 64 is a lot better than batch 8 because you'll see it's like 1 out of 16 images that looks really good. And so there's kind of like an interesting, like, in order to make 8 as much more compelling than 4, you kind of need like maybe like a little bit more variation in the right way. And so that means that like you may need different UIs and then retuning all the variations for the batch 8 to make it look good. So it kind of ends up needing some like more different things than I was expecting. So I'm like not as enthusiastic about rushing out the batch 8 as I was before. It's pretty clear though that big batches are gonna be important. It's just the current website I think has unfortunately been over optimized around batch 4, which is kind of like one of the reasons why you almost don't want to have like the website in comparison to what the Discord was, just because you might over optimize prematurely. But I'm very happy we have the website. It just unfortunately like is a little over optimized and takes longer. We don't in some ways we don't have as I think with Discord we could work on more major features at the same time, whereas for the website it's a little harder. So a lot of pros and cons to the website. We'll kind of learn them as we go along, but hopefully, like probably what'll happen is that UI development will slow down, but the UIs will be better. It's a little bit easier to ship something on Discord. Hard to say what the pros and cons are of that world, but I think we'll be fine no matter what. Um, anyway, we'll probably make some. We'll probably start tuning up the mobile version of the site soon, and then get make that a little bit better of an experience. I think that particularly on Android, it looks pretty good when I like make it a full screen app or even use it on a web browser. But when I use it on a web browser on iOS, it's bad. So we probably have to we're gonna do some work there. I feel a little mixed about the idea of like Midjourney on mobile because it doesn't really feel like a mobile app. You know, if like just like it's like putting desktop Photoshop on mobile. So I feel a little bit conflicted about it. So I think like it's not I don't feel like it's gonna really get us more users because the average mobile user doesn't really want something that's expensive or complicated. But I see some argument that like for the pro people, like all of us on the phone call, um, you kind of do need it, just because like, yeah, like we want to use it on our phones, right? And we want all the features, so that makes sense. But it kind of makes it almost like more of a pro app. Um, yeah, I mean, it makes sense to do a desktop app too. The desktop app is weird because it's going to basically be even more similar to like the website, but it gives you notifications, I guess, which apparently is a big difference for some people. So we will do that. Um, Yeah, we're gonna just wrap the website on, and for mobile and app stuff, etc. Um, yep. And all right, I'm starting to answer the questions. Maybe let's go to the light you're on soon, but let me think for a minute if there's any other things we were gonna do. Any other things to talk about? Um, mm, yeah, I think there's a lot of things we want to do on the website. There's a lot of really cool website things. I think the challenge is that we don't really have a team right now where we can easily work on like many features independently at the same time. So probably have part of the team work on making it for mobile and desktop apps, and we'll have the other part of the team work on personalization, the new personalization stuff for a bit. So like things like the Style Explorer and everything are kind of no bueno right now, not moving, but maybe one day it will be easier. We are hiring front-end web engineers if anybody wants to help with sort of that stuff. Um, mm, mm, mm. Hiring a lot of people. We're trying to hire. We have a lot of positions open in general, but we probably need to get better at. It's like a full-time job just to start going through. Yeah, it's hard to actually. It's like it's a full-time job to do recruiting at scale. So a lot of our people are kind of just they want to just make things. So it can sometimes be hard to get everyone to do all the interviews or go through all the resumes. But it's like a common problem, I suppose. In theory, the CEO should just do nothing but interview. It's a little hard for me, but I am spending some time trying to get more people. Um, Recruiters don't totally work in practice, which is weird. But yeah. Anyway, I think that's mostly it for now. We can do a lightning round. Um, is V7 weeks or months away? It's probably not coming out in the next month. It probably needs another like 2 weeks to finish training the first version, and then usually it takes at least 2 weeks to tune a new version. So we're not in the, and then sometimes we like test it for another week with guides and mods. So we're still in the training phase. We're not in the tuning or the testing phase. So it means it's probably more than a month out. Um, I think the personality test asks for somebody saying, "What does I vote for liberal candidates mean?" I mean, I didn't write the test, but my impression is like liberal means that you want to change things, and conservative means that you don't want to change things as much, right? Like I'm conservative, I don't want change. I'm liberal, I want to change things. I think that's it. Mostly just, and obviously there's like people can bundle up lots of other things with liberalism and conservatism, but I think that's fundamentally what those words are, right? Um, there's an email careers@midjourney.com to send resumes and such to. I think it's the bottom of the midjourney.com website. We are building a hardware team and exploring a bunch of cool hardware products. I think there are multiple things that it makes sense for us to make, but they will take some time. Hardware moves a lot slower than software, so us building a hardware team is not so much about trying to get hardware out quickly, but it's about like trying to make sure that we can ever get hardware out at any point in the future because it takes a lot longer. So sometimes I prioritize things that like take a long time because if I don't get them started now, they'll never happen. So it's important that to have some get some more hardware people. We have a couple hardware people already in the team, but get a few more on just to help push those projects along to the point where we can show them off. I think that we're not going to we're not going to sell any hardware products in the super short term, but I think we will show stuff off in the relatively short term. Like yeah, which could be cool. Um, I don't really know if there's any open source things for designers with Midjourney, but I mean, we definitely would love ideas for like brand stuff or swag. We think about doing like a Midjourney swag competition. Um, I'm not sure what improved stability and consistency means. There will be better character references and style references in the future. We could make the brush go smaller on the editor. Doesn't it already go pretty small? Oh, I guess it could go smaller. I mean, it's not the inpainting isn't really meant to do really tiny brushes, so I'm not sure if we should. Just because it would go smaller doesn't mean that it will work, but maybe I'll let them do it. Wait, I want a larger or a smaller? Wait, you want a larger region? Oh, wait, this is on Discord. I would use the website. It should scale better on the website if you're on a 4K monitor. Um, the Niji team is testing a new personalization. I don't know when it will hit. I didn't really know that they were going to try to release it, but they kind of decided at the last minute they wanted to try to push it out a little bit. I think we're going to improve the prompt accuracy rating. It's definitely some good feedback. I don't really like the simulation hypothesis. I think it's just theism where God is a programmer, and that it's not actionable unless you can hack the simulation. But then hacking the simulation is kind of like being like an occult wizard or something in the normal theism. So I'm not sure if there's an operable difference between simulation and hypothesis and normal theism. Life on Mars, I think there's probably at least bacterial life on Mars underground. There's probably whales on Europa. Get the whales. I'm not sure what does Midjourney do self-reasoning. I'm not sure what that means. What makes depth control so much like a image filter? Well, I mean it's really it's very it sticks to the image pretty well. When we do the video models, I think it'll work for both anime and non-anime. It's more of an image to video than a text to video. So you have to start off with the anime image from Niji if you want to do it, and then it should just work. I don't think it makes sense to open source the Midjourney web UI. I'm a little worried that like open source is sort of like code for empowering venture-backed B2B AI businesses. So as we have no investors, I don't feel particularly inclined to subsidizing venture capital backed startups. Um, if somebody wants to raise $100 million and then give away their product for free, they should hire their own people to build their own product rather than relying on us. Um, George Hotz is cool. We are testing this early 6.2 still. We might release it. I'm kind of on the fence about it. I think the goal is that Niji, that V7 will have like a Niji mode, but there won't be a separate Niji model. When the personalization code updates, that means that you were doing ratings and that it changed the personalization based off your new ratings, and so it made a new code. We're not really sure what the version numbers mean in some ways. Like V7 is going to be a pretty different version. We're going to try to like change the way we build models after V7 to kind of do more incremental rolling things. How do you know that people will do a serious job about the prompt accuracy rating? The prompt accuracy thing is like a test thing, so we're going to test it and change it over time. The ratings usually take a while to get right. If you want to help us test it, you can right there, and we're going to look at the data and see if we can use it. Um, Images are different than language models still in a lot of ways. I think we will want feedback on the next version of the survey, because the next version is going to be more like handmade by us. But for this survey, we're kind of using an advanced off-the-shelf like we built a new UI around a relatively recent public test. So there's a thing called the Ambi test, which was not the best test, it's not always accurate, but it looked at a lot of things, and we built sort of an advanced UI around those sorts of tests, and now we're going to change the tests and have new tests in the future. Um, Besides Midjourney, do you have a favorite creative AI? No. I don't feel like there are any other AIs that are particularly creative, sadly. Sometimes like the linear, like really weird models, but like unfortunately I think a lot of the assistants they're having like the creativity beat out of them most of the time. I use Claude personally for, random things a lot. We use Claude at the company a bunch, but I don't really think Claude is particularly creative. I mean, it might be more creative than the average person, but it's definitely not creative in comparison to a creative person. So it's not usefully creative, I would say. It's good for math and programming, though. I would really like there to be a more creative language model. I don't really think there's a creative other visual stuff out there because mostly they're just all trying to copy Midjourney. So probably hard to make a creative thing when you're just, when when people are thinking uncreatively, but uh, yeah, not a huge fan of that kind of. I always want people to like making new things in the world that wouldn't exist otherwise. People just try to, when they don't bring anything new, it's sort of like, why are you doing that, bro? Like, go do something new. Um, I could definitely imagine there being another company doing visual models that would be like really different from us. Like, there are interesting things that could be done very differently. I just wish I saw more of it. Um, I don't think we're gonna do text to music. I don't think it makes sense for us to do that. Video we don't really know what the video interface will look like long term, but in the short term, it's going to look more like an upscale. So you have an image you like, and then you say you want to make it a video, and then it might say like how, what do you want to happen in the video, and then you'll give it some guidance, and then it'll try to render something out. It will definitely be more expensive than upscaling, but hopefully it won't be hyper expensive. I don't think we're gonna have any official tarot cards, but you could make tarot cards with Midjourney. cards feel nice to hold. Oh man, I'm falling behind. You can kind of zoom in by cropping on the editor. V7 will definitely do better with text. And it should do better with anatomy, yeah. I would say most like new models that people make that like making text work well is more about having a simple architecture than having a complicated architecture. And so the way that our current model works, because it's kind of complicated, it like hurts itself in certain ways and it hurts the text a little bit. So we're hoping to make the next model work differently so that we can get all the benefits of the simple models and the complicated models at the same time. Um, I think we would, in general, we want to be the best. We don't really want to be the cheapest. Like, it's not really exciting to be like, oh man, I'm the cheapest. I am the cheapest. Like, I'm the cheapest person in the world. But I mean, there's a universe where we could release a video that we could wait to release video until it's like the best, or we could wait to release the video until it's like good and easy to use. So I don't think I know the answer there yet, but it might be tempting to release like a good and easy to use video thing, which is sort of like built into the Midjourney experience. So we're definitely keeping an eye on that right now. I don't think it's obvious. Like I think like what we would do is we'd throw it into the test system and we would play with it ourselves. And if we're like, you know, man, we're happy that this is in here, then we would probably add it to the product. And if we're like, actually, this seems kind of shitty, we would not. I think that some of the best video models in the industry are starting to look okay when they animate Midjourney images. So that implies to me that we might see something that, you know, crosses some threshold there relatively soon uh, on our own product. But yeah, we're kind of on the fence around like what is good enough. So we're starting to see video models trained at Midjourney that we're like, yeah, that looks pretty good. But if we had some user data on that, it would get better. And so I think the more that we might release something that's probably not perfect just to try to collect user data on it. We also could do a rating party that's just for video, like a video rating party. But it's possible for the video rating party, we actually need to let people use it for a bit first to kind of have good video prompts, like good examples of things. So we might release something just for video data collection. It's going to be something like Laura's, but I don't think we're going to do something specifically about. I don't think we're specifically going to do Laura's right now, but I think we're going to do something that looks kind of like Laura's. Nothing wrong with 6.2. It's just I wanted it to work better than it's working. And so the question is like, how much more time do we put into it versus just pushing the V7 things? Are you confident that Midjourney can remain independent? Uh, I would say the business side of it is very stable right now. When the business is stable, I tend to be more long-term focused, and I'm pretty long-term focused right now. If the business is either growing really fast or shrinking, then I definitely get more short-term focused. Um, but I would say right now we are either stable or like steadily growing. And so, to be honest, if I could like push a button and just make it stable, and then put more time into crazy projects, I'd probably push that button. Yeah. I'm not really trying to take over the world. There's just like actually like there are like important things to make, and I want to focus on making them. Uh, Yeah, it's a good reminder. We could do more of the demographic stuff for 6.2, so that could be worth throwing that in there for part of that launch. I do think abstraction could be better for V for V7. We're trying to do some new things to make it better at that. Uh, Midjourney V1 was probably not that much compute. I want to say it was like 8 A100s. Yeah, we do look at other AI models from other companies. Usually for visual ones, we're always like, man, that looks like trash. I know it's possible if you ask it for like a photo of a woman, all the services will make photos of a woman because it's like the most important thing most people test on, but not for us. And yeah, mostly when we test it on general things, we're like, man, that looks like trash. Uh, will Midjourney video support dialogue? We haven't thought a lot about dialogue, but there's probably some arguments for stuff like that. I should think about that a little more. And then I should probably also, what was the other thing somebody said, the demographics and balanced aesthetic for V6.2, yeah. I think that V7 should work pretty well with logos. We'll see how it looks. Yeah, Hermes 405B sounds like an interesting model. I mean, in general, the base models are more interesting. I just wish somebody like optimized it a little more around, optimized them a little more. Wonder if there's like a, yeah, I should think about that sometime. Uh, yeah, definitely gonna try to make character consistency better in V7. We were really hoping V6.2 was gonna look way better than it ended up looking. We could definitely put a bit more effort into it, but I'm like, our V7 stuff is looking better right now, so I'm kind of on the fence. Yeah, I know Midjourney is expensive in Brazil. We could add a few hours of relaxed time in the lowest tier at some point. Uh, we are going to try to release some storytelling stuff this year. I can't say if it's going to be next month or in 3 months, but we are moving towards getting one of the storytelling tools out, and it's pretty cool. How can the average creative person improve besides reading sci-fi? I mean, I would say like if you want to be more creative, just put yourself more around creative things. So if you want to be creative about animals, read creative animal stories. If you want to be creative around art, like look at really creative art, you know? We'll fund you till we're bankrupt. Thank you, everyone. I will keep working till I'm bankrupt. Um, I think if we announce any of the really big projects, everyone will be very excited. Yeah, the business is like weirdly stable. Like sometimes I look at things, I'll double check things 6 ways before saying that the business is stable because I'm like, damn, it's stable. or like, damn, like nothing affects us. It's kind of crazy. I don't mean that like in a overconfident way, but almost like in an eerie way. It's like everyone really likes Midjourney, so nothing seems to affect us, which is I'm very grateful for. And it lets us focus on big things. So we're going to focus on big things. We're definitely going to make better character reference stuff for V7. You can do multiple srefs images, and that should work a little better. The website has rooms, but we're not currently planning any kind of direct messaging type of thing. Character consistency can't be really good because of the way that V6 works. It's hard to explain, but like V6 is just a very complicated system. Like we made things more complicated with V4, V5, and V6, and now V6 is too complicated. So to make it better, we really have to make it simpler. And so we're trying to make V7 like simpler and better. We are looking at doing some kind of team account stuff, but I'm not sure when it'll come out. It might be by the end of the year. The storytelling tools will work with normal current models, but they'll get better in the future as we have more like the character reference and things like that getting better. Midjourney lottery. I wonder if that would be legal. V7 is a very different architecture than V6. We don't do federated training. The storytelling thing is pretty different, so I'll just kind of wait for, people to see it. Cool. So maybe we can take a few voice questions now. Then we'll do a last lightning round, and then we'll call it a day.
Hello, and
Hello.
the invite. Loving V6.1 so far.